Hello, my name is Mendel Bijdelij, and I'm a mixing mastering engineer and a composer from the Netherlands. And in this video, I'm going to showcase you how I use the WEDGE FORCE Keemun as the backbone of the track you're hearing right now. So here we go. Alright, so here we're in Cubase. As you can see, I have the WEDGE FORCE Keemun DI bass open here. So when I played with this, I was really inspired to do something like in the funk genre because I had it on the fingers warm playing style. I'll show you the demo so you can hear it in context, then in solo, and then we'll go into the plugin chain and how I created the sound I wanted. Okay, so here we go. So you basically get the idea. It's really full and rich sounding, and that's what I like because it really carries the whole mix. So when I solo it, this is just the Keemun bass. So what I want to show you first is the settings I have before I went into like songwriting mode. So over here you see like the playing style. So I have like finger warm, bright accents, fingernail, and pick. Warm sounded really round, which really inspired me to write something funky and I think really fits this song. So this is like a really warm, round, thick bass sound. Really thick sounding, and I absolutely love that. And over the at the bottom you see here the neck fretting position. Now depending on the song, like you can play parts up on the fretboard, and you could just easily do that by dragging it over here. So you can see all the dots move over here. But for this song, like I created a decision, I wanted to let the bass play as low on the neck as possible because that's where it's most thick sounding on the lower notes. And the bass really needs to drag the whole song. So again, the fingers I had on warm. I had the neck fretting positions all to the left, so it's as low as possible on the fretboard. And also an important thing, with the release, I have it on 0, because if I would have it on 100, for example, the release wouldn't be as tight as 0. And for this song, I really wanted to have that really tight, like Tower of Power funky style. So when the bass note stops, it should be like stopped right there, because that's the whole thing that comes together. Because there's a lot of instruments playing the same thing. The guitars, the brass, and the Keemun especially are all playing the same notes on certain sections. So everyone should stop and start at the exact same spot. So that's why it's very important for me to have the release on 0. Okay, so now that I'm done building my DI source, I can now focus on tone shaping. So let's jump into the plugin chain. So I have it on fingers warm because it's more warm sounding and less clangy than, let's say, with a pick. And perhaps I would use a pick if it was like a metal track, but for this funky track, warm was perfect for it. So going into the plugin chain, and I'll build it like from scratch. So I'll turn everything off and let you hear how it sounds without any plugin. So let's go to this funky part. Let's loop that section. Here we go. So the first plugin I used was the Ampeg SVTR, which I love. I have in almost every of my productions, but let's take a listen. So this is without the amp, so just pure DI, and when I turn it on, it already changed the sound. So I have them bright here, a tiny bit less treble, a bit more bass, and these switches like the ultra high and the ultra low. So that's the foundation of the tone. Now, one of my favorite plugins since the past year, I think, is the Amec 1999. So you can see all these settings over here. And I did something that I've never done before, to be honest. I boosted around 210 Hertz on bass. Normally I do like 90 or 100 Hertz, but for this song, it worked perfectly on 200 Hertz and a bit of high. So this is with the plug-in bypass. So you can hear it's a bit more full sounding, like a bit more low end. And because of the high end, it's a bit more smiley face, so a bit more scooped, a bit more lows and a bit more highs. So going from that, I did one of the things I do in almost every mix, is I look up a certain resonance around the lower mids that I always cut out. Now this may seem odd because I boosted around 200 Hertz on the Amec, and now I'm cutting around 200 Hertz with the digital V3. But I just used my ears and it sounds good to my ears, and that's why I used it. So this is without the V3. And now with it, so you can especially hear this frequency. And it also creates a bit more space for the guitars, and I added a bit of like 5 kilohertz. Now comes my favorite thing of all time, and this is easily, no joke, top 3 favorite plugins of all time, I think. The Shadow Hills Class A plugin. Now this thing on bass is pure magic. So when I would like mix a metal track or something, I would like use a limiter, but this thing makes the bass like really smooth. Like you can really hear the pressing of the compression, and that's something I adore in bass, like in a funk style song. So this is it without that thing, and when I turn it on, and it also adds a bit of girth almost, like on the longer notes. Love that thing. Absolutely love that thing. And then the last thing I did to add a bit more wideness, I add like a chorus pedal on the end of the chain. So this is the BX Blue chorus. So this is without it. That thing, and when I turn it on, and it's very subtle because I put the mix on around 20%. This is what it sounds 100%. But that removes a lot of the low end information. So I put it around like 18% or so. And that's the sweet spot for me. So everything bypassed. Everything turned on. And that creates that full bass sound that I absolutely love in funk. And to show you, like I said earlier, that basically the bass carries the song, I'll mute the bass during the play and turn it back in again, and you can definitely hear it brings back all the energy. So this is without it. Alright, and that's basically it. So in my opinion, it's a really inspiring bass synth. I mean, if a metalhead like me gets inspired to write a funky track like this, then I guess the possibilities are endless. So I really hope you get inspired, try it out yourself, write music, be creative with it. My name is Mendel, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.